Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Shasta County Board of Supervisors for Tuesday, March 19th, 2013. We appreciate all of you joining us this morning. The invocation this morning will be given by Pastor Keo Salih of the First Baptist Church of Central Valley, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Supervisor Giacomini. Will you join us by standing, please? Pastor, good morning, sir.
Will you all bow as I pray? Our Father in heaven, we come before you today to give you honor and praise because you are worthy of praise. You are the source of all that is good and the source of all of our blessings. We thank you for your gift. We thank you for the opportunity to come and gather together to this day. We ask for your hand of blessing on this meeting. We ask that you would guide and direct our meeting so that it is full of wisdom, productivity, and respect for one another. Thank you for helping us to accomplish our work and our goals this day. Amen.
Please join me in the salute to our flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor. Thank you, Supervisor Giacomini. The next order of business is the public comment period, open time. Each speaker is allocated 3 minutes to speak. Comments should be limited to matters within the jurisdiction of the board, pursuant to the Ralph N. Brown Act. Action or board discussion cannot be taken on open time matters other than to receive the comments and, if deemed necessary, to refer the subject matter to the appropriate department for follow-up and or to schedule the matter on a subsequent board agenda. We have this morning several requests to speak. And what I will do is I will call off the name of the first speaker, followed by the next speaker in line. So the first speaker is Sergio Galeos, and if I've mispronounced anyone's name, please correct me. Please come forward. And then the next speaker will be Lori, Stillie. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes, I'm here to support Anselmo Vineyards.
Okay.
To me and my family, it's been nothing but a blessing. We're very happy. It's an excellent environment to work. And the thing that I like about it is that it provides an opportunity to reach families out. They have horse riding there. They have wedding activities, wedding services, restaurant, vineyard, winery. So it's a vehicle to reach out to the communities in this era. Not only that, but not only my family, but lots of families are being benefited by working there. So I don't know exactly what's going on here, but we support, we like Anselmo Vineyards, the spirit of service that we find there, and also, I would humbly suggest the county that. If you guys could put aside self and focus, think about the families that are residing here in this county, Shasta County. This region of Northern California is a beautiful, beautiful area, nice area to grow, to raise your kids, your family. And as a county, the county should be a friendly, employer-friendly area where to invite investors from other regions of the country and support and raise the economy, the standard economy in this county. As it is, the economy is is bad. The employment is very high, and it's hard to find work. And it's if the two parties could come together and provide a vehicle of growth and respect and productivity, I don't see why not the county and Mr. Anselmo can be a work in harmony and create an environment of progress and raise the economy and help these families fulfill their dreams and their achievements, their goals. I've been working there 6-7 months, and I've been witnesses the spirit of respect, productivity there, and also a way to heal families to come together with nature and celebrate life. So I really support this enterprise, and I'm very happy to be there.
Thank you, sir. How do you pronounce your last name?
Gallegos.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, bye-bye.
The next speaker, following this speaker, is Mr. Terry Raposa. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Lori Stilley. I'm also employed by Mr. Rivera Anselmo. I am formerly the daughter-in-law of Mr. Glenn Hawes. And so I've known of the struggle between the Anselmos and the county for several years. I witness Mr. Anselmo in his private chapel every morning doing his mass in the morning. I've seen the support Mr. Anselmo's given the community, local businesses, and I just hope that there's some way that the county and Mr. Anselmo can come together and resolve the issues that there are. Mr. Anselmo, I see him apply for permits. I see him fill out applications for permits. And I guess I raised the question to the Board of Supervisors is, why are there no permits issued? What do we need to do to resolve this matter? Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us. Our next speaker is Mr. Raposo, followed by Mr. Greco. Good morning.
Top of the morning to you, sir.
Oh, thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Are you peachy this week?
You bet. I'm
Good.
on top
You're
of the
always
world.
peachy, sir. Anyway, some things have kind of come to light on this whole issue, and what the young man and young lady just said is very true. Mr. Anselmo does employ 40 people. He employs another 100 or so on a part-time basis along with people in construction. So he's a valuable asset as far as the county goes. As we said before, there's thousands and thousands of dollars of taxpayer money that goes into it. It came to light this morning that the county is spending $45,000, no, I didn't stumble here, $45,000 a month on this issue with outside attorneys and other fees. So when you have a situation like that, that would be $500,000 a year, which possibly could get us a couple of deputies that we definitely need. As I've said before, my wife and I support rural America. That is something that we do with sheriffs in 9 counties, 2 in Oregon, 7 in California. And what we've done is we brought the sheriffs together with the people in a cohesive manner to where we go to the people go to the sheriffs and say, how can we help you help us? And that's what the Integrity Project wants to do. And last week, we had talked about some different things on the Integrity Project. This isn't the only issue. The other thing, so it's clear, is the Integrity Project isn't a 501c3 or a 501c4. It's basically people just getting together. And when the request was made of you, ladies and gentlemen, to come to a meeting and we could explain our mission statement, we were told because of Mr. Anselmo's lawsuit that you wouldn't come. Now, to me, I find that a little bizarre. Does that mean if someone eats at the restaurant, you can't talk to them? Or what if Mr. Anselmo is involved in the Lions Club? Does that mean you can't speak at the Lions Club? So, again, I will openly invite all of you to where we could just give you our mission statement. Nothing will be said about any particular case, but we want to give you a mission statement. So we're just basically your constituents and want to talk to you, yet you refuse to talk to us. So in that regard, I'm a little befuddled. And also, I think that with the road situations we have in the county, maybe some of this money could be used toward that. One other thing, too. A couple of weeks ago, Miss Angel made a comment about a town hall that was done up in Shingletown. I emceed that town hall with our sheriff, Mr. Stewart, along with Patrick Jones, and we were talking about issues as far as protection of our kids in the schools and how we could do that. That was sort of turned around at the end by Mr. Baugh when he made the comment basically, oh, we've got everything handled in Shingletown, everything's fine. She's a nice lady basically, but at this particular point, our sheriff's got it handled. We know he hasn't handled. I was at that meeting, and the issue Ms. Angel brought up was the fact that maybe her deputy would be pulled from her area to go cover an area that didn't have a deputy. So I think that it's fair if, when we're done, and then someone is going to rebut what we say, we should be able to come back up and rebut that. I wonder if we can do that by law. Seems to me like we can. So I would ask that when I'm done and when we're all done, that maybe if there's comments, we could talk about them privately so there wouldn't be that back and forth. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Greco, followed by, I'll spell the last name, Stadille. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
On top of the world. You, sir.
I'm doing very well, thank you. I just wanted to say a few words in support of Mr. Anselmo and Anselmo Vineyards.
Sure.
My name is Chris Greco, and I'm currently a server up there. I've been working up there for 6 months now, and I recently got promoted to server. And, you know, not only has Mr. Anselmo created the most superior restaurant and wedding venue in a 200-mile radius, but if nothing else, he's providing jobs. And he hired me on. I had no prior restaurant experience or anything, which is almost unheard of in the restaurant industry, so I'm very grateful to him for that. And, you know, I don't really know what all is going on between him and the county. Frankly, that's none of my business, but I do know that that ultimately affects my job. And, you know, really, if nothing else, he's providing work for people that, you know, for whatever reason are unable to find it elsewhere. So, yeah, and I'm just very grateful, and I enjoy going to work every day, and I'm really, really thankful for the opportunity that he gave me. You know, and I'm sure there were a lot more qualified people that he could have hired, but, you know, I met with him briefly, and he chose to give me the position. So for that, I'm very grateful, and overall, I'm just all for Mr. Anselmo and everything that he does, so.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Following this speaker is Mr. Russ Wade. Good morning.
Good morning. Oh, sorry. Good morning. My name is John Stadelli. That's a tough name.
Thank you, John.
To do. I represent the kitchen staff in solidarity and support with Mr. Anselmo. These are the fine young men and women that work that kitchen staff. These kids come with no experience as well, and they've been trained in an exquisitely built environment, standards way above normal as far as kitchens are concerned. I have been personally involved since day one of that project. I have helped build the project, and I've watched Mr. Anselmo build it with the utmost integrity. They represent tax-paying citizens, and they're kids. These kids could be elsewhere on Friday and Saturday and Sundays. You know where they could be because you deal with a lot of them right next door, I'm sure. They don't. They're with me, and they're with Mr. Anselmo. As far as the chapel is concerned, I remember the day that we talked about this. I couldn't get to church on Sundays. I was working for him. And he said, well, I'll just build a chapel so you can. So it's a private matter between us who choose to be there, and he invites us in to share his dream and the beautiful ranch that he's built there. And I find it a travesty that we sit here as adults behaving poorly instead of behaving the way we should be. These kids' tax money are paying some of the salaries, I believe, in this room possibly. I don't think we should destroy that. We should encourage every ounce of people like this to come to Shasta County and make it simple, easy for them to open up business. California's losing a lot of opportunity right now. You all are aware of that. And I don't think we need to be a part of that up here. I really don't. I thank you for your time this morning.
John.
Yes, sir.
Would you mind introducing your crew?
Oh, certainly. This is my pastry chef, Kim Wells.
Yeah.
This is one of my sous chefs, Robert Serene.
Welcome.
I have my sous chef, Michael Johnson. And I also have another sous chef, Robert Burrows.
Good.
And there's other kitchen staff up there that couldn't make it today, but they all feel exactly the same way.
Very good. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for your time.
You bet. Mr. Russ Wade, followed by Ms. Ruth Angel. Mr. Wade, good morning, sir.
Good morning, everybody. Look, last week I put out a sort of a big mouth challenge, and I started thinking about it, and I thought I'd come in and brag. Yesterday, I did 43 pull-ups, and we're talking full range of motion. In addition to that, I did 55 dips between the parallel bars. Now, when you do a dip, you want the back of your arm to be parallel to the floor to protect your shoulders. And if you can find any employee that even can touch that, I would be very, very surprised. And where am I headed with this, really? Each one of us have a stewardship issue with our own bodies, don't we? But in addition to that, we have a stewardship issue with our care for the planet. And unfortunately, the way our society is designed, an economy running on non-renewable energy, we're headed off a cliff. And we're continually degrading our environment. It's unfortunate. And I would say we're all wrapped up in it. But I do want to tell you, I've got a wonderful plan for the county that would reduce our greenhouse footprint. Do we need any more Superstorm Sandys? When you've got polar ice melting, you affect ocean currents. Ocean currents affect weather, and you end up losing, millions of people lose their whole infrastructure, and we end up with billions of dollars of damage. And we do have to address how we are affecting the environment we live in. And it can make a huge difference. And that's kind of where I was headed with the old man being able to do more pull-ups and dips than anybody you got working here by a long stretch. It's stewardship, and we have the capability of being good stewards. And it is our responsibility to future generations to take better care of this place that has been so good to us. Thank you so much for your time today, and I hope you do find somebody that'll shut this big mouth up.
Mr. Wade, thank you for joining us. Good to see you. Our next speaker is Ms. Ruth Angel, followed by Mr. Paxton. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. And I'm with the Integrity Project, and I'm here again today to support Anselmo Vineyards and the employees that twice now have had their jobs in jeopardy. So you look at the kids and the heartfelt comments, and I can't tell you, it just breaks my heart that this is going on. And so the Integrity Project is all about common sense and coming up with solutions. And it seems to me that, and I heard this morning that Mr. Anselmo asked the county or sent over a proposal to settlement at the first injunction. And all I ask, who is going to be the hero on this board to stop this, to use some common sense, which is what our approach is, and who's going to be the hero? Who's going to say that let's settle this matter. Let's get to the table before it's too late, because at some point there's going to be a point where there is no turn, that we're going to have to move forward to a trial. We heard today that $45,000 was the cost to the county. If this goes to trial, we know that that cost is going to go far more in excess of thousands and thousands of dollars. So I just ask, who's going to step up and talk about this and just say, yeah, maybe this is the time. Maybe we save a sous chef's job. Maybe we save a server's job. Who's going to do that? And that's what I ask you today. Who's going to be the hero? Because I think it's time, and I think it's time that the county does that. I don't think we can afford, for the good of the people and the good of this community, thousands and thousands of more dollars. And, Terry Raposa mentioned the cost of a sheriff. Well, as we define our issues for each one of these districts, we're finding that police is a big issue. And we hear it every day that people are concerned about the rationing of police services. And while we look at solutions, I called Shasta College yesterday to ask them about their reserve program. They don't have one, but I spoke with Craig Carmini, and he said that he is willing to contact Butte College and put another one up here because he sees the need, and people want that. So I just ask you to just come together and come up with a solution that this county can get behind you and support.
Thank you, Ms. Angel. Our next speaker is Mr. Paxton, followed by Ms. Raposo. Good morning.
Hello. I'm a retired building official, building inspector. I worked for Shasta County for several years as a plan checker, worked directly underneath this department, resource management. I've been involved with this project for over 2 years. A lot of misconception I see in the paper. This project was applied for a building permit before construction started. Has been overseen by an engineer. Pictures have been taken as construction proceeded. We tried to get a building permit for this twice. The building official refused to make this a private chapel. He wanted to call it commercial public chapel. Would not remove from that. If this had been issued as a private chapel, we'd have a permit, this fight wouldn't have happened. Okay? Part of the issue I've seen in the paper is that it's not zoned for churches. I found over 8 to 9 other churches in this county that were issued on exclusive ag land. Public churches with Sunday schools on exclusive ag land. It's not a zoning issue. This is an issue whether it's a private chapel or a commercial public building. That's what this comes down to. This permit would have been issued 2 years ago if we could have got off that one correction. The code, the building code has 4 sections: administrative, structural, non-structural, and general provisions. Administrative is the first part of the code you go by. The intent of the code, building code. That's classification of the building. That's done by the building official, and you can try to appeal that. Shasta County is required to have a building board of appeals in place, not developed when one's requested. A meeting has never taken place to my knowledge. And as I understand it, you don't have a complete board now. So there would be no way to appeal a decision in the first place. Second of all, how do you appeal something that's in the application stage? How do you do that? Can't do that. I went in to get permits for Mr. Anselmo, and we refused to even take my application. They refused me to even take my application. That's not legal neither. Mr. Anselmo has not made a big issue out of these type of issues. We try to just proceed, try to help staff be knowledgeable. The person who's been making this decision has now retired. His staff, part of his staff is now retired. He was required by state law to have updated education every 3 years. That didn't happen. His staff did, but he never got it. The person who was making this decision had no experience in building code, had no certifications in building codes. You now have that in place. I suggest you take this position about this permit alone, put it to a special board of appeals and let them review this and see if we can get past this issue. Save everybody the money. These fees, this cost gets passed on to all future development in fees.
Thank you, Mr. Paxton. Our next speaker is Ms. Sally Raposo.
Good morning.
Excuse me?
Good morning.
It's a great morning.
It is.
And our next speaker following you is Ms. Dolores Lucero. Please.
Thank you. I'm here to speak on behalf of the public for Mr. Anselmo. And in this morning's newspaper, the headlines read, "Anselmo gains edge on Shasta." Do you have any idea what this is saying to the public out there? I mean, we read these headlines and it sounds like the county has a vendetta against Mr. Anselmo, with the exception of Ms. Giacomini and Bill Chappelle, who has had nothing to do with the problems out at Anselmo. I think this is bad. This is bad publicity on Shasta County, and I think that we had a rally out there today on the street. We got lots of thumbs up and lots of honks. The public is now becoming more aware of what's going on, and I think after today, I know there'll be something on the news today and probably in the paper tomorrow. Please, this needs to be resolved. This gentleman is just trying to make a living and hire people in Shasta County, and we need those jobs. Ms. Giacomini, he is in your county. Please, speak on his behalf and let's get this thing solved. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Raposa. Our next speaker is Ms. Dolores Lucero, followed by Mr. Bert Stead.
Thank you.
Good morning, Ms. Lucero.
Good morning. I like the way you're cheerful.
Thank you.
My name is Dolores Lucero. I'm actually the ex-councilwoman from the city of Shasta Lake. Listening to the citizens and regarding Mr. Osamo, I'm going to give it to you straight exactly what it is called. It's called Shasta County Power and Control and Corruption. That is exactly what it is. You're misusing the taxpayers' money. You're using their money. If it was your money coming out of your pocket, you couldn't afford it. And it's misusing the funds. You cannot continue doing that. I want to tell the public that the public has the power and the control to override what the Board of Supervisors do. You need to understand this is not going to stop until you push harder, until you overturn these decisions that the Board of Supervisors are doing. If you don't, it's going to go on and go on. They're going to use the funds, and they continue using their funds. You need to do something about it. When they go into closed session, when they make a decision, you need to get a petition to override it. You need to do that because they're not going to stop. And somebody needs to do something. And that's what I've been facing here in this county. It's called corruption. The sheriff continues. Like I said before, the sheriff is corrupt. He sent me a letter regarding my public comment to the Board of Supervisors. That is under my First Amendment, my Constitution, right to freedom of speech. He violated that. This letter was sent to me to my home, and basically saying here regarding my public comment to the Board of Supervisors. Here is the mail where he mailed it to me. He's not going to stop. But we, the people, need to start pushing harder because times are getting tough. If we don't do it, we must well give up our freedom of everything that we've been fighting for. We need to do something. You need to stop spending the taxpayers' money. You've been misusing them, and you don't listen to the public. Just like the city of Shasta Lake didn't listen, that's why they recalled me, because I was willing to stand up for the citizens and bring out the corruption, how they broke the laws, how they're misusing the funds. That's why we have two people who resigned. Ron Lindsay, he was the mayor, and Carol Martin, the city manager. Not because they just decided to retire to be with their family. They retired because they knew that they were wrong. They were caught. That's why you need to stop before the people take control, and they need to. I'm just giving you advice that if you don't do something now, they're going to continue. And this is just the beginning. Other issues will come forward, then it's going to happen. It's going to be the same thing. Just like the sheriff, he's getting sued. How many times do we have to deal with lawsuits?
Thank you, Ms. Lucero.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Our next speaker, Mr. Birdstead.
Lady and gentlemen of the board, thank you for listening.
Good morning.
I promise to be short, if not so sweet.
Okay.
When I speak this morning and I speak of you, I'm speaking of you not as individuals, but as the County Board of Supervisors. You are one entity in my mind. You know me from the Elk Trail Water Association, where I've been president for several years and been involved in this latest water project from the beginning. My experience with the county has not been a pleasurable one. It's been one where the county refused to listen to us when we wanted to speak, except on rare occasion, and one where we've had to meet roadblocks presented and put up by the county. Now I find out about this Anselmo project, and that's why I'm here to talk to you today, and I will be very quick on that. Throughout the water project, you guys have nickeled and dimed us to death on little things here, little things there, as if the little bits of money were important. charging us $1.80 a mile for your truck to come out there and your car to come out there to work on this project, until we found out about that and found out you were overcharging us, and then it stopped. This Anselmo project, you guys are looking really bad. You're looking really bad in the public's eye. You need to stop spending $45,000 a month on lawsuits. The idea that a county entity would sue an individual who's doing so much good to me is absolutely preposterous. You need to stop this. You need to resolve this project so that you don't come out looking as bad as you're going to come out looking. To me, fellows and lady, you are being ridiculous and you are being really hypocritical. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address the Board of Supervisors? Please come forward.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And welcome to Ms. Giacomini and Mr. Chappelle. I'm remiss in attending the meetings lately, and welcome to both of you.
May we have your name, please?
Elizabeth Woodward.
Good, Ms. Woodward.
I'll be honest with you, I'm not necessarily on either side of this issue. I've never met Mr. Anselmo, but when I start to think about the cost of perhaps this lawsuit and maybe even others, the thing that comes to mind for me are some personal stories that I wanted to share with you about the people that you are serving. And just as an illustration, we've all seen little kids that go to school, probably 4 and 5 years old, that have a wrinkled shirt that's designed in polka dots and striped pants and mismatched socks, and you think to yourself, who dressed that child? And then you think, well, you know, any really good parent understands that sometimes it doesn't matter what the child looks like. Perhaps the child wanted to dress themselves. You have to pick your battles. In the end, the only thing that matters is that that child is safe and happy and healthy. And as you sit at the very top of Shasta County, you're kind of in the position of being that parent that makes sure that all of the folks that you serve are happy, healthy, and safe. And just in the last couple of weeks, I've heard some stories from some folks I know. These are tax-paying citizens, and they're law-abiding citizens, and this is what their daily lives have come to. A couple in their 70s, he won't let his wife go anywhere alone anymore. He took her to a local retail store. She took just enough money out of her wallet to run into the store, get what she needed, and come back as quickly as she could. While she was gone, he scanned the entire parking lot to make sure that she was going to get back to the car safely. I went to visit someone recently at the dinner hour, and I knew that they were home, and I knocked on the door, and I knocked on the door, and I knocked on the door, and couldn't figure out why it took them so long to come to the door to greet me. What they told me was they never answer the door until they're armed. Another family that I know that have 3 little girls under the age of 12, beautiful little girls. They're so frightened now because of some of the encounters that they've had as small children in our community. Those little girls will no longer put on a pretty dress unless they are in the 4 walls of their home. Another individual that I know works cleaning some of our county buildings at night. And what doesn't always make the paper is that where they're working, they have people that have mental health issues going through the parking lot screaming and breaking car windows. And this is the life now that we are all living in our beautiful Shasta County that you're in charge of. All I ask is that you think carefully on the part of the taxpayers how we're spending the taxpayers' dollars, because we want your legacy to be not what battle you fought and what lawsuit you chose to take on, but how safe, healthy, and happy your constituents were. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else, please? All right. We appreciate those comments. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is the consent calendar. The following consent calendar items are expected to be routine and non-controversial. They may be acted upon by the board at one time without discussion. Any board member, staff member, or interested person may request that an item be removed from the consent calendar for discussion and consideration. We have a request to transfer item C8 from the consent calendar to the regular calendar. What is the pleasure of the board concerning disposition of the remainder of the consent calendar?
Move approval.
Thank you. Second. We have a motion and a second. Further discussion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item C8 is reappointments to the Public Health Advisory Board. Do we have someone represent Mr. Ewert? Would you come forward, sir? Or Ms. Wada, either one. This item is being pulled by Mr. Charles Alexander.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Donnell Ewert, Director of Health and Human Services, and this item is coming from the Clerk of the Board and is in regard to the two members of our Public Health Advisory Board who are nominated by members of the Board of Supervisors, whose terms expire on March 31st of this year. And I believe those two supervisors, Supervisor Giacomini and Supervisor Modi, have renominated these individuals to be appointed to the Public Health Advisory Board for 3-year terms.
And Mr. Ewert, how would you describe their tenure on this board?
These two individuals have been very active. Actually, Ms. Jackson is the current chair of the Public Health Advisory Board, and Ms. Catherine Ann Campbell has been very vocal in representing the Eastern Shasta County and is definitely the voice of conscience for the Public Health Advisory Board, trying to remember our eastern part of the county.
And we appreciate their service. Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Ewert. Mr. Alexander? Good morning.
Bon matin. Thank you for the opportunity here today to address the board on the matter of the proposed PHAB reappointments. Here's a question. Would the balance of PHAB, Public Health Advisory Board, approve for reappointment anyone who is not supportive of health and all policies? By now, of course, it is well enough known what health and all policies is all about. Incidentally, a New York judge struck down New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg's ban on 16-ounce and greater volume sodas because, in part, of the ends justifying the means approach that Bloomberg et al. Took to the imposition of the ban on sugar-sweetened soda pops beyond a certain volume. And who can forget North Carolina's version of health and all policies, whereunder a schoolgirl's turkey sandwich was declared unhealthy because it did not appear on a pre-approved school lunch menu. Not to mention the series of smoking ordinance proposals that have been bandied about in Reading and other places over the years. Not to mention the ban in Chico on the use of biomass as a home heating fuel during particularly cold days in the year. In too many parts of the country, effort against malum in se is being made to give way to that against malum prohibitum. In a society where the concept of transcendent truth is being systematically jettisoned, restraints against evil are thus made to wane till they are no more, save for those prohibitions that be recorded in the law codes, and that only to the extent to which a certain infamous good-for-nothing 3-judge panel is willing to permit any enforcement at all. Beyond that comes the erosion of the concept of the rule of law, which will eventually be followed by the law of rule. Health and all policies, all means all. And no reappointment should be confirmed of someone who supports such an agenda. The advisory boards are, after all, to be watchdogs, not lapdogs. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Alexander. Pleasure of the board concerning disposition of item C8.
I would move approval.
We do have some requests to speak. Mr. Modi?
Well, that's fine. I'll second the motion. I just want to say I'm very thankful for Ms. Jackson's willingness to serve. She's done an excellent job, and I'm very proud to re-nominate her to be on the board.
Thank you, Supervisor Modi. Supervisor Giacomini?
Thank you, Chairman Kehoe. Yes, I too support Catherine Ann Campbell. As Donnell said, she is very vocal in protection and kind of raising awareness of Eastern Shasta County issues, and I really appreciate her service.
And you're going to second the motion? Oh, okay. Very good. Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, ladies. Item on the regular calendar that's next is General Government, R1, Administrative Office Board of Supervisors. 1, receive a legislative update and consider action on specific legislation related to Shasta County's legislative platform. 2, consider approving and authorizing the chairman to sign a letter which supports SB, that's Senate Bill number 296, Carrera, County Veteran Service Officers. And 3, receive supervisors' reports on countywide issues. Mr. Lees.
Thank you, Chairman Kehoe, members of the board. Very quick, I draw your attention to the letter that is enclosed in support of SB 296, asking the board to please consider sending a letter signed by the chair to support this particular bill. What it does is it increases the amount of resources to local veterans officers, and we have a very strong active veteran service officer here in Shasta County, and those resources have not been adjusted for the past 18 years, and of course in the last 18 years the number of vets, and especially those requiring services, have increased significantly. So I'm asking the board to please consider proposing that we send this letter and go forward in supporting this bill for our veterans.
Mr. Lees, thank you for bringing this forward. As you know, veterans and veterans affairs are extremely important to this Board of Supervisors, and so I'm going to take a minute and read this letter because I think it captures our thoughts on the matter. And this is addressed, dated today, March 19th, the Honorable Senator Lou Carrera. It's a letter in support of SB 296, County Veteran Service Officer. Dear Chairman Carrera, on behalf of the Shasta County and the veteran community we represent, I am writing to support SB 296 for increased local assistance funding for county veteran service officers. If enacted, this bill would increase the amount of state assistance to the veteran service officers by $5 million statewide. Currently, counties provide approximately 84% of the cost associated with services provided by the veteran service officers. The other 16% is provided by the state through the California Department of Veterans Affairs. The state currently allocates $2.6 million per year to be distributed among the 56 counties with CVSOs. This local assistance allocation has remained nearly unchanged for the past 18 years and is inadequate to properly fund the veteran service officers. According to the state, from 1995 to 2011, the veteran service officers have obtained $3.6 billion in federal benefits for California veterans and their dependents. This has been done at a cost of $36 million from the state general fund. This reflects a return of about $91 for every dollar the state allocates to the veteran service officers. The return only reflects the actual monetary benefits qualified for in a given year. Yet most veterans and their dependents continue to receive these benefits for the rest of their life. Furthermore, also not reflected in the annual CDVA report are Medi-Cal cost avoidance savings incurred as a result of the Veteran Service Officers qualifying and shifting veterans away from Medi-Cal onto the Federal Veterans Program. Presently, there are over 18,500 veterans in Shasta County, residing in Shasta County. This number does not include dependents or surviving family members. Passage of SB 296 would make it possible to expand services to thousands of underserved veterans and their dependents. Therefore, Shasta County strongly supports SB 296. If you have any questions regarding this matter, please contact Robert Dunlap, County Veteran Service Officer, at his phone number. And this is signed on behalf of the Shasta County Board of Supervisors by myself, David A. Keogh. Is there a motion to approve this?
I'll move to approve it.
Thank you. Second, Bill? Further discussion of the motion? All those in favor of the motion of sending this letter to Senator Carrera, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Next is Supervisors' reports. I'm going to start with Supervisor Giacomini.
Thank you, Chairman Kehoe. A few things that I attended this past week. One was the Northeastern California Water Association annual meeting. This is a private landowner-based, agricultural landowner-based organization that was set up, formed in early 2000 to protect water rights, essentially. So it was a very good annual meeting, some great updates. In addition, I attended the hospice dinner dance. This is in support of our wonderful hospice up in the Intermountain area that does an incredible job for families in need. And then finally, yesterday I attended the Hospital Foundation board meeting, and I wanted to just give you an update. We have a new flyer. Some of you may or may not know, we are actually under a very large capital campaign to build a new hospital facility in the Fall River area. So this is an update. I'll leave this for the other board members to review. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Giacomini. Supervisor Modi.
Just one item to report on. I attended the Purple Heart ceremony along with Supervisor Kehoe and CEO Lees. Commander Berg, a tremendous effort your group put together, and a great way to recognize those who have served our country and done and given a lot to us. So thank you for a fine job. It was a great event.
Thank you, Supervisor Modi. At this special ceremony of the Order of the Purple Heart, Commander Berg introduced a hero of Shasta County, Mr. Ellis Booth. Mr. Booth served in part in France, and he was recognized for his service by a delegation from San Francisco. So it was a very nice ceremony, well attended, Commander Berg, and thank you very much. We also attended the Exchange Club 40th Annual Peace Officer of the Year Awards, and I have this information upstairs. In addition to that, I attended the Reading Police Department 2012 awards ceremony, where colleagues of Supervisor Modi were recognized for their service, previous colleagues of their. And finally, I attended the Shasta County Department of Housing and Community Action Programs. We had a meeting the other day, and we're reorganizing to a certain extent the bylaws we have considered. And finally, last evening, I attended the RABA board meeting, Reading Area Bus Authority, where we talked about the short-range transit plan. These proposed plans, very informative, and anyone who is interested in learning about public transportation are encouraged to read this document. Supervisor Baugh, please.
Thank you, Chairman Kehoe. I wanted to make all the supervisors aware that tomorrow I will be attending RCRC in Sacramento on behalf of the board as your rural county representative. If you have any additional items that you would like to have me bring to the attention of RCRC, please let me know. And also, I announced this previously, but I'll take advantage of the time to announce it again. next week on Wednesday the 27th at 5:30 will be our next Cottonwood Town Hall. There are two parts of this meeting. The Cottonwood Community Center would like to present the various groups and activities within Cottonwood, so they've invited various entities and groups to speak and make short presentations on services available within the South County area. And the second half of the evening will be a presentation by myself and Sheriff Tombasenko about AB 109 and its effects on crime in the South County. That concludes my comments. Pardon me, 5:30 is not the start time of the town hall. It's actually the start time of the fundraiser in advance. Now, the money that you spend on your $8 for your spaghetti dinner will go to the community center. There are no public funds that support that, and so all of the funds are raised locally to keep that project going. I would request, last time we had 40 or 50 people show up and buy their dinners. It was very thoughtful of you. I would appreciate the same support. Thank you. And the event does start at 6 o'clock right after that.
Thank you, Supervisor Boss. Supervisor Chappelle.
Thank you, Chair Modi. I was invited up to Dunsmuir. It was kind of a community meeting on the fire tax. We had a representative from Bryan Dolly, and also one of the Siskiyou County supervisors was there. Some of the citizens expressed their concerns about the tax. CAL FIRE was there. They did a really good presentation on the funds, if they continue to come, how they would be dispersed and how they could use them in their fire prevention and their program. And some other citizens expressing concerns about the tax, and that was also brought up about the illegality and also the Jarvis lawsuit that was going on. Excuse me. Also was invited out to Shasta Lake City. It was award ceremony, Citizen of the Year, all the various entities that were there, that we presented awards to them, and so it was at a dinner. A lot of people that were there. Sheriff Sanka was there. Ted Gaines was there. There was a lot of different people that made up that dinner that night, and it was basically honoring the citizens of Shasta County, and one of them was a hero, and somebody got shot and severed their carotid artery, and she was a manager at Burger King, and she put pressure on it and actually saved the guy's life. So it was interesting and it was fun. That was it.
Thank you, Supervisor Chappelle. I would like to recognize our faithful observer and friend, Miss Janet Terrell, represents the League of Women Voters. And Janet, we appreciate you being here each week. Thank you. Finally, on our agenda is item R2, amendment to the agreement with California Forensic Medical Group, Incorporated, for detention facilities medical health services. Sheriff Pasenko, good morning.
Good morning, Chairman Kehoe, members of the board, Tom Pasenko, Shasta County Sheriff. Before you today is I bring to you a recommendation to approve and authorize an agreement with California Forensic Medical Group, or known as CFMG. They provide medical services to the jail and to juvenile hall. The agreement has been in place since 2008, and over the course of the years, CFMG has been an excellent partner with the county, at least from the sheriff's standpoint, and I know speaking with the chief probation officer, the same. We have had many financial challenges over the last few years, and in fiscal year 2010-11 and fiscal year 11-12, they reduced their contract due to reduction of services at the jail and juvenile hall to save the county about $250,000. They've also agreed that we have, as you know, we have out-of-county contracts in a number of counties. Two of those counties are CFMG contracted for those sheriffs as well, and they agreed to extend those services, since they're clients of theirs, extend that same opportunity to us, even though our inmates are housed in those facilities. They've also agreed to work with us to save us money to get services under the Affordable Care Act, that we may save money there as well. And a reopener in should compensation change for standards for medical protocols and health services. There is some guaranteed annual 3% increases instead of the annual increases based on a medical index or CPI.
This did go to an RFP when we originally did the contract. There was renewals. What we're asking for here is a renewal of the contract, and then later, should we choose to go to an RFP next year or the year thereafter. I'd like to thank Ms. Julie Hope for the CEO's office, analyst for the Sheriff's Office. She was very engaged in the contract negotiations and changes, working closely with County Counsel, our representative Adam Pressman, Senior Deputy County Counsel there, and working with CFMG. We have a representative, Dan Husted. He's the Vice President of Finance for CFMG here today if you have questions for them. Ms. Gail Herman, Chief Financial Officer for Probation, is here to answer questions for probation. And Ms. Julie Hope would like to present some of the details of the actual contract with CFMG.
Thank you, Sheriff Pasenko. Ms. Hope, good morning.
Good morning, Chairman Kehoe, members of the board, Julie Hope, County Administrative Office. I think the Sheriff did a great job of summarizing the amendment and the changes to the contract. I just have one minor typo I'd like to draw to your attention for your consideration before you consider approving the item, which I discovered last night. On the page 2, number 2, paragraph C, the very last section ends, or the very last sentence in section 3.01A, that should be 3.01B. And it's a very minor typo, but it is important to the intent of the amendment. I discussed it with County Counsel, CFMG, and the Sheriff, members from CFMG and the Sheriff this morning, and everybody is in agreement that that change should be made should you choose to approve the amendment. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Questions, Ms. Hope? I have a question, Ms. Hope. On top of page 2, in return, the county has agreed to item 2, guaranteed annual 3% compensation increases instead of the annual increases based on the medical index consumer price, CPI. Hypothetically, if the CPI was 1%, we would still increase the contract by 3%?
Yes, sir.
And what's the experience, our experience with the CPI?
I think recently the CPI has been relatively low. In the past, it has been large, and it has the potential to be large again in the future. When we were negotiating it, I have to say that CFMG requested a 5% annual guaranteed increase, and I was able to negotiate back down to a 3%. So I felt relatively successful in obtaining the 3% instead of the medical CPI, which is volatile and unreliable.
Okay. Ms. Hope, you are a fiscal star. Thank you. Further questions of Ms. Hope or Sheriff Pasenko? Pleasure of the board concerning disposition of this matter?
Move approval.
Thank you.
Second.
And we have a second down here. We have a motion and a second to approve item R2. Further discussion. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Ms. Hope, thank you. Sheriff Pasenko, thank you. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us this morning. That concludes our meeting this morning, and we are adjourned at 10 o'clock. Thank you, ladies.